Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today I have a very special unboxing, something that came in, part of, I believe, the Apex Pass-Around group, and Blade Banter was the guy who had this before me. So let me take a look and see what we got. Should be pretty cool. Oh, today I'm opening up with my Berg Blade Sweeney. It's a top flipper. I was flipping it like it was a flipper. I've forgotten what knife was in my hand. Imagine that, but it also has a beautiful thumb hole for reverse flicking. It's just fantastic. Great little knife. Still available on their website if you want to go check them out. I think it's a fantastic knife to consider for your collection. I think you will very much enjoy it. All right, let's get in there. All right, so we got some packaging. What do we got packaging? Oh, here we go. Oh, it's two of them. Okay, interesting. We'll save some of that for shipping out stuff before. So this is Ocaso Knives. Okay, very interesting, cool design. Let's see, what do we have here? This first one is the mini stainless steel satin finish blade. Okay, looks like they're out of Ocaso, California. Okay, and then you have, what is this one here? This is the large stainless steel satin finish, and this is the Ocaso. All right. So let's figure out what this is. I don't know if that's the name of the knife or what. Now, when it comes to little things like that, I like to be very careful so I don't mess it up. I don't want to mess up the part here. So we keep the blade away. We get in there, get a little leverage to pop that up. There we go. All right, so let's open them both and put them out there. All right, so this is, ooh, it is in a little bag, and the bag was kind of opened. So this is the mini one, and that, boy, that is a small guy, huh? Yes, that is indeed small. All right, let's get in there. Okay, so that one opened up pretty well. All right, well, that one came out of the bag too. Okay, all right, so this is the bigger one. All right, so those are very polished, very shiny. I like that. This is really small. Now, there's no clip on this, so this looks like it would be like carrying your pocket sort of knife. Let's see. Okay, it is a liner lock, but there's no clip on this. That's interesting. Does this one? No, it doesn't have one. Okay, it does open, but there's a thumb stud on one side only. Looks like you could reverse it if you're a lefty. It has a liner lock there. Okay, that's interesting. Let's see, is it centered? Yeah, it's pretty centered. What kind of steel are we dealing with? Does it say on here? Made in Taiwan, so that's good. Taiwan is kind of where Spyderco does some of their higher end stuff, right? Like the Smock and some their other knives. It's a little tight, so it feels like it's running on phosphor bronze washers. Definitely a liner lock. I like the little pivot, definitely a captive pivot. This looks like T6s and a T8, I'll guess. Let's go ahead and just confirm that. Here's our T6. T6, and I will just take a quick look. Yeah, T6. And I bet the pivot is T6, yep. Now this is definitely, yeah, so it's much bigger over here. Let's double check on this one. T6. All right, so there's only screws, no screws on this side, 2 screws on that side. Let's look at the pivot as well. All right, so those are both T6s. All right, let's see if they're T8s for the pivot. I suspect it is. Make sure we get the right one here. There we are, T8. All right, so let's take a look. Yeah, T8 there. And here. Yep, T8 there. All right, so this particular knife has T8s for that. I'm not sure if this is a prototype or if this is a finished work, but it doesn't have a pocket carry clip, which is interesting. Probably not something I would carry without a pocket clip, just personally. It is phosphor bronze washers. You can definitely feel that buttery smooth. Kind of feels like Chris Reeve, kind of, you know, Spartan blade kind of feel design to it. It's pretty heavy duty. Let's see, are these steel? Yeah, steel. So steel handles. Yep, steel handles. And let's take a look. Does it say what kind of steel this is on here? I'll have to look this up. I don't know. Stainless steel, large stainless steel, satin finish. I don't see what the blade material is. I'm going to assume, is it like D2 or something? Maybe the big one has something on there. It says Taiwan. I hope it's not like 440C, right? Well, then this would be a super budget knife. Interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, so it has a couple of standoff pivots, but no screws. It's only one there, which is kind of cool. Very dead center. It feels like phosphor bronze washers. It's definitely a hand satin finish. Don't know what the blade material is. This is rounded, so it's not sharp. That's cool. A relatively short blade, so that's for sure. All right, so the lockup, we're at a good 50% there. Any blade rock? No, no blade rock. Let's go ahead and close it and let's listen to the detent. Good, click on the detent. Cool, all right. It does flip. You can't really do anything reverse because obviously unless you, but the problem being able to do this, yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot to grip on. It's very polished. I feel very unsafe trying to reverse flick this one because there's really nothing for me to clip on. And boy, those phosphor browns, they need to be broken in if that's what it is. It's not drop shut. This is not a, see, yeah, I would have to really flick this hard. It's not, this is like a very manual kind of knife. I got this feeling this is probably designed for Europe somewhere where, you know, boy, this small one though it's too small for my hand. I feel like I'm going to cut my hand on this one. So it's definitely different. It's cool experience. It's unique. I like the milling. It's everything rounded, nothing sharp on there. That's really cool. And it's an absolute mini version of the big one. I mean, it's an absolute scaled down version of that. Let's see. Yeah, same number of standoffs in the back. You got this lock bar. Yeah, the lock bar pivot. I mean, the blade pivot stop. So there you go. Both are liner locks. I can't do that. So yeah, it's hard to even open this one. This one I'm not going to be a real. Let's see, I almost cut myself there. Not a real fan of something this small. This would be great for really, really small hands, I guess. I'm not a fan of it. This is too small for me. So this one's totally out of consideration. If I had to buy both, then I wouldn't buy them. But if I could get the larger one, that would be more appealing to me than the smaller one for sure. But there's no clip. There's no pocket carry clip. And I know for some people, maybe that's what you want. And if that's what you want, then maybe this is a cool offering. I really would like to know if we're talking 14C28N, D2, you know, S30V. What kind of steel are we talking here? With steel handles, I suspect this is going to be a budget knife. That's my first impression, that this is very much a budget knife. And I wonder if the steel might even be D2. I really hope it's not 440C or something like that. That would be extremely disappointing. Yeah, extremely disappointing. But there you go. That's like, you know, a regular, I don't know if call it large. They call this large, which, sorry, I have to laugh a little bit. I would call this like a, you know, small and mini. A large would be significantly bigger. I mean, here's a Sweeney, and that's not a big knife, and it's significantly bigger than that, right? And this is not one of the mega knives because, you know, if you want to talk big knives, let's get a Shergorov out here, you know, a 9-inch knife, and, you know, we can get out to there, right? And then I even have something that's even bigger than that. I'm pretty sure my MSI. Yeah. So my MSI, I think, is even bigger than that. Yeah, so there you go. So you can definitely see it's a little bit on the small side. But if you're into small knives, hey, I think that is definitely a consideration for you. It's a little too small for me. I think it's got some potential. I will review it under the auspice of this is not for me, for someone else. But, you know, I do make a, you know, recommended and things like that based on something that I would recommend, something that be. Now, my recommended could be recommended if I'm going to buy something for someone else as a gift. Is this a good knife for me to give to them if they got smaller hands? Like I bought my wife Spyderco Delica. I would never carry that. It's way too small for me. But I would absolutely recommend that for people with smaller hands, especially ladies with smaller hands. I think you would really enjoy that. My wife does. She loves that knife. It's a great knife, great size. So this could be along those lines. But for something like this, I would want like you know, a leather slip to put it in there. And it's only got one thumb stud, which means you can't reverse flick it. So there's no fidgetability in there. You really take a lot of the fidget factor out. And because it's phosphor bronze washers, I mean, this doesn't drop shut, and there's no chance in heck that I can use my middle finger reverse flick yet. I cannot get any traction on that. So unfortunately, that takes that out. It is an interesting experience. It's unique. I will grant you that. It is definitely something I've never experienced as far as knives goes. I'm very curious. I really want to know what the stainless steel is on the scales. I want to know what the blade steel is. That to me is very important. I hope we're talking budget knife, 14C28 D2 kind of stuff. I hope we're not looking at something really extravagant, because if you're going to be putting like S90V or S110 or something like that on between two steel scales, that's just doesn't make sense to me. But I also hope it's not like 440C steel or AUS6 or AUS8 or something terrible like that, or 8CR MOV or something like that. I really hope it's not something like that, because that to me, I don't know, that makes it a little bit too cheap. It'll be something I can't recommend, right? So, I sound, I'm sorry if I sound arrogant, but I just have a minimum level for a knife that I feel like for it to be safe for everybody to use, there's just some factors that I consider. And some of those things are edge retention and toughness and things like that. Those to me really matter. So there you go. All right. As far as everything is concerned, it is rounded, it's chamfered, there's no blade rock, it's comfortable. Could you choke up? You sort of can choke up. It's got a little choke up position here. So choke up position, large. I have large hands. You could get extra large hands in here for sure. Maybe double extra large. The little one, I'm not even going to try because my hands are too big for that one. So, if you have smaller hands, check it out. It's just a smaller variant of this one. But if you have larger hands, this might be too small. Unless you wanted something real, clandestine, something real secretive in your pocket that wasn't clip, it just slid in there like a nail clippers. This would definitely be that. It could be a very, discreet little pocket knife. This could almost be the size of a nail clippers here, this thing, and can fit in your pocket. Maybe it seems more discreet, but I would love to have a leather slit for something like that, So, the action is not very smooth. I mean, it is smooth in regards of phosphor bronze, but it's not something that I enjoy. I can't reverse flick. I can't, even use my middle finger flick. But everything's rounded. Everything's comfortable. Everything's got some nice touches to it. It just seems like you did some nice touches on not some great materials. But that's just my impression. I'm giving you my first honest, open impression about the knife. I'll have to do some research about this. I'll have to figure out some more information. I've been wrong before. I thought one knife was a budget knife when it first came out, and I was completely wrong. But I was wrong about the steel. I thought it was, like just 154 CM, but it was CPM 154, a little bit better steel, powdered steel from Crucible. Makes a big difference. I have no clue what the steels are on this. I didn't see it on there. Let me look one more time, just make sure I'm not missing it. And if you guys see it, let me know. I hope stainless steel is talking about the handles. When I hear stainless steels for blade materials, my skin crawls. I'm out. I'm done. I'm out. And if I find out it's the case, you may not see this review. Quite honestly, I'll be straight up with you guys. If this is like a real uber cheap knife like that, I will probably not review this, because I can't in good faith review it fairly. I would be very negative, and I'll just send this on to somebody else, right? But if it's got to be something a little bit better than that. It just has to be. I can't imagine that our group would be doing anything other than that. So there you go. Could you choke up on this thing? You sort of could. You just got to be real careful with your small hands. I feel like this would be great for little kids' hands, but it's not a knife I would ever handle to a little kid. It's too smooth. It's not secure. It has no texture for them to hold on to. It'll slip out of the hands, and I got no pocket clip. It's a lot of little things that I'm not too terribly excited about. But, it is. It's an experience. I think it has a lot of potential. Make this a little bit bigger, titanium scales with a deep pocket carry clip. Maybe put some cage ceramic ball bearings, or make sure the action is a little bit better, like we're talking like a Spyderco or Benchmade, where you can, still drop shut it with the phosphor bronze washers. Yeah, then we're talking, right? But I don't know. I don't know enough yet about this knife to tell you. My first impression, it feels good. It feels a little tough on the action. I wished it was a little smoother. I wished it was a clip. If not, you should include a leather slip. I wish I didn't have to reverse the stud. You could probably buy some aftermarket studs to put on there, but I mean, depending on how expensive this knife is, that would kind of defeat the whole purpose of buying a knife like this, right? You might make that knife twice as expensive just buying new thumb studs. So I don't know. But it has the feel that it could probably be better, but I feel like I might be wrong if I think that. All right. So that's just my gut feeling. And I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I totally undersold a knife that I thought was an absolute budget knife, and it was a little more expensive. But once I read the specs and understood things, it had a hollow grind, some other things. It's like, okay, I guess I can sort of see that. You know, so you learn, especially if it's something you've never experienced before, like this. Again, I guess it's the Ocaso. I don't know what the name of the knife is. I'm just going to call it the Ocaso. So if I haven't already, the name of the knife will be down in the description, probably in the title. And if I haven't already, I'll probably try to splash it up on top in the video if I remember to do that. But this is my first impression experience of this set of knives, and I'm just trying to be honest. Let me know in your comments down below what you think. If you've experienced this knife, you have any thoughts on the knife, I would love to hear from you. And whether it's good or bad, you don't have to agree with me. And matter of fact, you could totally disagree with me. You could think this knife's the greatest thing next to sliced bread, or you could actually think this thing is, you know, horrible, warm, toasted garbage poop or something, right? You know, I don't know. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your ideas on this. It's unique. It's unique in the sense it's something different. Captive pivot, that's unique. It's pretty robust in the steel. Oh, did I see that? Yeah, it's got okay, so it has a steel liner on the inside. It is milled out. But this has to be steel. This just has to be steel. Yeah, it's steel handle. So I don't think that it's anything else. So there you go. All right, so let's go ahead and do a little close-up so that you guys can see it. I'll try to put it in my hand maybe. All right, let's just do two hands. We're not going to be able to do this one-handed. All right, so here we go. Do the blades. The handle. Really more of an impressions. I can't really review this because I haven't really used this. It's a unique design. I'm part of the Apex Pass Around, and we were given this knife. This is from Ocaso Knives, and this is the Seaton design. It's designed by David Seaton. A very unique design. It might appeal to some people a great deal, and maybe to others not so much. There's some unique things about this. We'll go ahead and talk about it. The knife manufacturer of this, I don't really know who the specific knife manufacturer is for this. I don't have any details. I couldn't find it on their website. So yeah, it is, I believe this is steel handles. Yeah, steel handles. And this is OS 10, is it OS 10? Yes, OS 10A. That's what was on the Andrew Demko AD 20.5 when it first came out the first time. Very smooth handles. It's very contoured. So if you're looking for something in the pocket, this would definitely be the case. This is the large one that barely fits in my hand. I can barely get my thumb around there. It definitely gets right there. I don't really feel super comfortable choking up because everything is so slick and slippery. I have no grip or traction on anything, and it's a pretty sharp edge, and that always makes me nervous if I don't have a way to lock myself in there. This is just it's just one easy slip sliding away from a big cut and stitches. So, and this lock bar is insane. If I owned this, I would have to massively tune that. Now it does lock up at a good 60%, and it's hard to disengage. I got to be honest, and it's almost hard to open, and I feel like it's the danger. So this is a very, just be honest with you, it's not going to be a great review. It's just my impression of the knife. There's going to be a market for this for somebody, and they're going to enjoy that, right? There's definitely going to be a market for this knife somewhere, and I get that. It's not with me, and I'll just let you know ahead of time my overall thoughts. I'm not going to recommend this for anybody, okay? Just my overall thoughts. But it's different, and I wanted to get a chance to check it out. It's steel scales. It's got a single thumb stud. You can't swap these out because that's recessed, and from what I understand, it only goes on one side. You don't really have any traction anywhere to get a good grip on here. There's no clip, so this is going to be in your pocket sliding around. There is cutaway for this, but it is really, it's meant for like little itty bitty dainty fingers. I don't think big meaty hands, this is not a knife for that. Maybe it's meant for like you know, small hands. All right, this is not for me. This is, yeah, I can't even deal with this one. This one is like, yeah, see, I almost cut myself almost every time on this knife. And for that very reason, I would call this an unsafe knife. Now, if you have really small hands, it might not be. And I have no traction. So if I like try to hold this, it's gonna slip out of my hand. See, I have no way to grip this. So if it's wet, I'm dropping this. And this beautiful polished finish is gonna be all scratched up because it's gonna hit the concrete floor. Yeah, so there's that. And yeah, does have a satin sort of finish on there. It definitely has a pretty thin edge. It's going to be pretty sharp. So yeah, there's that. What else can we talk about? It's rounded. It's centered. It feels like it's on washers. It's like a liner lock that's really tough. It's cut out, but not really. It doesn't drop action whatsoever. This is a two-handed operation as far as I'm concerned. I really don't have a lot to add. I think I'm gonna just take this impression here and add it on to my unboxing, make one video out of this, because I can't really come up with more content on this. It runs $79, I believe, for the little guy. The large one is $99, so this is $79 for this one with steel, single thumb stud, a liner, AUS 10 steel, and then this one is $99. For the materials, I think this is really overpriced. I don't know if the design warrants it. I feel like this, this one right here might be a $30 knife, maybe a $25 knife, and this one right here might be a $20 knife, a little under. And I don't mean to insult anybody, but that's just what the materials feel like, and the usability of it is. I just really feel like you need some traction somewhere. If this was going to be a legitimate, serious user knife, I think this is someone who, if you're looking for a collection, unique design, just like a really nice gas station knife. I mean, that's kind of where we're at with this one. I mean, it's not, I don't want to call it gas station because this is obviously way better materials than that, but it is like a very simplistic, beautiful kind of looking one, but it really, I don't know what else you would use this for. If it was in my pocket and I need it, so I would drop it, right? So yeah, there's that. The little one I still have a hard time with. It's only a slow roll, and getting there is challenging. It is dead center. It has one screw here or one screw here, so it's minimalistic hardware on one side, so that is interesting. And it looks like it's it's milled out steel on one side, and then there's a liner on the other one because it looks like it's it looks like the liner lock is part of the frame right here, so it's attached to it. So anyways, yeah, this is not super sharp, but you could definitely scrape your nails right there with that. So, I guess you could use it as a fire starter or whatever for like a Ferris rod. I really don't have much else to say. We can do some measurements on there. Let's do some measurements. The little one, let's start off with that one. That one weighs 1.83 ounces. The big one weighs 2.72 ounces. So there you go. Let's measure the overall length of that one. Here's the big one. And then we'll do the little one. All right, so the big one overall length is 6 3/4 of an inch. The little one overall length is, I want to say 5 7/8. Yeah, maybe 5 7/8. And then the handle over here, if you go from right here, you've got about 3.5 inches. If you do the choke up position, you might have right at 4. Over here, you have just at 3, and if you do the choke up position, you might have 3.5. Okay. Overall cutting length on this blade, it's going to, well, from the tip to the back is going to be about 2.75 inches. Overall cutting length is 2.75 inches. Here from the tip to the back, you're a little under 2.5 inches, and then total overall cutting length is going to be about 2.25 inches. So there you go. All right, so let's go ahead and do a blade stock thickness on this. All right, it's 0.8 it's 98 thousandths of an inch, or 99 thousandths of an inch, and this one is 92 thousandths of an inch. So there you go. Pretty thin, as expected. Yeah, see, every time I try, I can sort of flick it, but you got to grab that just right. If you don't, see, my hand slips out. It slips all the way out. All right, I can't really add anything else to it. I mean, I think it's a cool design. I think if it for the novelty or it's a collection piece, yeah, I mean, it's definitely in the budget realm. Both of them are going to be absolutely budget realm. This is in a budget realm by 1 penny. This one's by $20 and a penny. So, are they EDC use? All right, I'm going to be honest with you. This is my perspective. If you like it, buy it. Go for it, right? If this aesthetics appeals to you. There's some of you guys who love slip joints. I don't care for slip joints. I appreciate some of them. I've come to appreciate more than I have before. And so, you know, I'm growing in that regard, but I'm still probably never going to buy a slip joint. It's going to take a lot for me to get there, but maybe it'll happen someday. Who knows? This is not something I would ever buy, okay? It is not an EDC piece. I would never EDC this. I would never have this as a reliable tool to use. I find it hard use, absolutely zero. No, I would not even recommend using it, all right? That's my perspective on it. The design, it is pretty and attractive and shiny, and that's about it, all right? It has a blade, it has a liner lock, it has a thumb stud. And it's missing a thumb stud on one side, and it's missing a clip, it's missing traction. And that's about it. And that's only on the large. And the little one I would never consider using. It's just too dangerous. Maybe for really small hands, you know, if you got really, really, really tiny hands. So the design, it's pretty and it's very smooth and everything. It's too smooth, all right? It's got one thumb stud, and that's really your only opening. You can't open it any other way. So, fidget factor, this is going to be a 1, and it's barely a 1. Quite frankly, it's about a 0.5, okay? This one's definitely, this is almost a 0, okay? There's no fidget factor on this one. I can't even do it. So this one would be a 0.5, maybe a 0. This one would be a 1. Fidgety goodness, a 50. It'll fail, it's a 50. This one was as close to 0, it's 25. It is not good. And I don't mean to sound mean, it's just not a knife that I can use. I mean, maybe I don't understand the intention of it, and I apologize. You know, I'm not a slip joint guy. I'm not a fixed blade guy. I'm not whatever this is, if this is a whole different genre. And maybe some of you guys know this stuff. You can comment below, and you've already been commenting. I love to learn. I love to learn. Sometimes I'm wrong. I used to hate Spyderco. I thought they were ridiculous. I learned I was wrong, and I'm okay being wrong. I'm okay learning. All right. But from what I do and with my knives, this is not something I feel very comfortable with. I didn't even feel comfortable using it. I just did the review impressions, and that's it. Overall thoughts, is it recommended? No. It's not. No. I feel like it's too dangerous. I feel it's too slick. I don't feel like you have any control over it. I feel like there's no way to grip it safely. I don't feel like it's one thumb stud, right hand only. I don't feel like it's safe in the pocket. If it catches something and it does open, you know, you're going to reach down and it's going to be too slick. It's going to slide around. And if this pops up like that and you're sliding around, all you're going to do is poke yourself or something. And so for that reason, I cannot recommend this. I appreciate them letting us check it out. Maybe I just don't understand the design language. And I get it. If that's the case, that's fine. That's fine. And, you know, and I give you my honest review, for better, for worse, okay? I appreciate the idea. I appreciate the innovation, and that's cool, but it's not for me. And, you know, maybe Ocaso is a completely different design language. That's just not for me, and I'm okay with that. And you know, I've experienced it, and I can say I've tried it, and, you know, and that's enough for me. So that's my thoughts on there. If you completely disagree and you think I'm an idiot, I'm welcome to take those comments. Welcome to learn more about this knife, and maybe I just didn't understand. But there you go. That's my thoughts. That's my overall impression. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, entertaining, or informative, or you just really hated it and love yelling at me, would you please consider hitting the like button down below, or even maybe not the like button, the dislike button. And if you've already hit that like button and you like the content or don't like the content and want to make fun of the content, maybe consider hitting subscribing so you can be part of the channel and have a chance to hear more content. Maybe you won't disagree with everything I say. But if you haven't already, also maybe consider hitting the notification button if you've already subscribed and you like the video. That way you can be notified of future content. And if you're a channel member, I appreciate you guys. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Thank you for helping the channel. You really make it a huge impact in this channel, allowing it to do more things. I really appreciate you guys. And if you haven't already considered being a channel member, maybe do so at the bottom as well. I would greatly appreciate that. And finally, maybe check me out over on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, great week. Bye.